Welcome. What is up? Welcome to the Mixer. I'm your host, RC. I am joined by my co-host here, Jeff. The NFL is drunk. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing great. The NFL is having a rough few days. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Housekeeping. Like and subscribe to us, all our podcast feeds on most podcast streaming services. We are there. Our YouTube channel, the Mixer channel, at Mixer on all the socials. We got a lot to get into. Stilts and Tilts. Jeff, do you got any other than the craziness and wackiness of the NFL world?
This Odell thing is tilting me a little bit. As a Browns fan, I don't really know where this just came from. Obviously, I'm not there every day in Cleveland, and I have no part in the team. But randomly, I won't say randomly, Odell's had a weird year, right? Coming off of injury. He's had a couple decent games, but no touchdowns. Had a weird game on Sunday. And then his dad just randomly drops a video of Odell just being open and Baker not throwing him the ball, right? And then today, Odell's basically being treated like he's not part of the team anymore, apparently. So I don't know what's going on there. Like, if you were going to make this decision, why not just trade him yesterday? I mean, I get that.
I think they tried.
Yeah, I mean, I get that maybe you weren't getting what you wanted or you think he's worth in return, but what's your option now? You're just going to cut him in the offseason because he's owed no more guaranteed money after this year? And then get nothing for him?
Yeah. I mean, who knows what the behind the scenes thought were, but I mean, if you move him to a contender, then you're rewarding bad behavior. I've heard multiple reports that he didn't get along with Baker. He did not fuck with Baker, as the kids say. Who would have knew? The flashy receiver that used to be in New York not having a great time in Cleveland. Who would have knew? Thoughts and prayers to both of you Browns fans out there. And yeah, I mean, they're saying that they don't expect Odell to be with the team for the rest of the season. I don't know if that means they're going to cut him or what they're going to do. But yeah, just bad vibes all around for OBJ and Cleveland.
Yeah, and that whole situation's weird to me. Baker's got a 66% completion percentage or something like that this year, which isn't bad. But when he throws to Odell, it's 50%. And he realistically doesn't throw to Odell often enough to justify having him on the team. So I fully get it from a lot of perspectives. It just kind of came out of nowhere to me.
Yeah, really, really odd. So that's your intro tilt. Obviously, we got more NFL news to talk about. Do you have a stilt or any others to share before I go on my weekly rant?
So I have one stilt. This is fantasy football related. I have been talking to people recently about my lack of interest in season-long fantasy football these days. I just hate making waiver wire moves. I hate the day-to-day stuff. I hate picking a starting lineup. If I'm going to do that, I just want to play DFS at this point. I love best ball, just being able to draft deep teams and then not worry about it after that. But I am taking a win away in our Mixer League. I'm pretty sure I won the league because I got Justin, who never makes trades, to make a trade with me. So whether I actually win the league or not, I'm taking a win because
nice.
I got someone to do something they never do.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's my stilt for the week.
You're sowing seeds for the future. Yeah, well done. Hats off to you, my friend. So, I mean, I don't know where to get started. Oh, we'll do the good news first. The stilts. So it's Halloween weekend. Happy belated Halloween to all of you. Do they celebrate Halloween in Utah out there?
Yes.
Okay.
We definitely do.
It's good. So anyway, took the daughter to Gymboree, dressed up. She was adorable. She had a blast, and then followed that up with a spontaneous trip to the Scripps Aquarium, thinking it's a Sunday, it's kind of a holiday, it'll probably be empty. We'll have the place to ourselves. Sure enough, went there. There was like 20 other people there. That was it. So, I mean, she got to, she's all dressed up in her costume. Everybody was telling her how adorable she was. She had a blast. We went to the gift shop, and we always get her something for these trips. And so we were just like looking at the books and stuff, and then all of a sudden she just points, and of course she finds Nemo. I don't know if I could say that. Hopefully we don't get blocked. She finds an orange clownfish, and just like grabs it, and then just like freaking bear hugs it, like claims it. This is mine. It's like the biggest one they have there. And I'm like, I mean, there's smaller ones. Try to give her the smaller one. She's just like pushing away. Anyway, so yeah, and she like wouldn't let go of it for the rest of the night. She takes it to bed now, and she doesn't really like stuffed animals. She has like a pillow that she carries around, like this little blanket, and like this star, the stuffed star, and those have been her like comfort items for, I mean, since she could walk. So and I mean, we've gotten her a bunch of things before, but this is like the first one that she picked out. So anyway, it's just just an awesome moment. So
nice. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great. And then, so this kind of ties into my tilt though. So, this was on Sunday, and I mean, you in our league chat may or may not have seen that, very, very early. It was like 9:15 or so, 9:15 a.m. on the West Coast, Pacific Standard Time. The games kick off at 10. I said, I'm going to attempt the impossible. I'm going to go dark on the NFL Sunday. The Chargers were playing the Patriots, which, I mean, the Patriots aren't what they used to be, but the Chargers have kind of always struggled with the Pats, and, thinking that they can, they can maybe turn that around on Sunday. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Anywho, so I was going to give myself a little treat. I was going to be out with the kid all day, phone on airplane mode. Bit of a risk, I'll admit, especially with like last minute actives and stuff. And so, I did that. And then, so I go the whole day, have this awesome time with my daughter, obviously. Right. And then, it's like 5:36. I'm like, all right, let's watch replay. Game Pass can watch the condensed replay. So I throw on I go to Game Pass, and then I click the game, and of course it has a freaking score like right at the top of the page. And I was like purposely not trying to see it, but I mean, there's no way you can click that game. Or actually, I did click the game, and I thought it would just go to like the play options, and no, it just has the score as a banner right across the page from, which option you want to watch the game is 27-24 Patriots. And I was like, great. Yeah, that's ruined. So I, no pressure, whatever. I'll flip on the Sunday night game and watch that live. And then I'm like, well, I don't usually check my fantasy scores, but I mean, since I've already had one thing spoiled, like, let's see what's going on. And then I go to my team, and I actually did see that Derrick Henry got hurt. I was on Red Zone watching the early games before we left to the aquarium. But so I knew like that was going to be an issue. So anyway, so then I look, and I was like, why is Calvin Ridley got 0? What the hell happened there? And then like I open it up, I read the blurb, and it said, oh, he's stepping away from football for personal issues or whatever. And I was like, okay, like after this game, like when, and then I like look at the time and it says that was posted at like 8:50 in the morning. And that I shared a screenshot of my setup at like 9:10, and you could clearly see like the Calvin Ridley, name on my roster, and there's no update, there's no O for out, and I went dark at 9:15, and I was watching like the preview stuff. So the only thing I can think is this is the simulation sabotaging me. This is a Nelson Mandela moment. I started the season by beating the two agents of the simulation at the start of the season. And I think after week 3 for the brand, I was the highest scoring team. And then it's just been absolute madness since then. I mean, I traded Cooper Kupp away for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's done for the year. I traded Christian McCaffrey away thinking like, okay, well, the Panthers suck. And who knows when he's going to be back. So like I need dubs now, and that doesn't work. And then on Sunday night, the game ends with some bullshit check down by Kirk Cousins to Conklin, my tight end. I think it's Conklin. Whoever the Minnesota tight end is that I was streaming because Waller was on bye, which gives me a 0.5-point lead. I mean, just out of nowhere because it gets a catch plus the yards, like double. I mean, like I think I was down like 2 or 3 points before that final play. And then my opponent had Barkley in, who was out, picks up McKinnon, who then gets cucked by, what was their running backs? Gore? Yeah. I mean, we're at the point now where Frank Gore's son is running, and I think Frank Gore is probably going to end up starting for the Titans next week. That's none of that's true, but what the hell, man? Like, and I win? Like, what kind of mind games is the simulation playing? Like, I'm just all over the place, my man.
Well, personal opinion, I think you helped the simulation out a little bit in your trade for Derrick Henry. But that's just my view on that. But I am with you. Like, it's kind of rough how like all these things have kind of piled up together. The Ridley thing came out of nowhere. And for anyone that uses ESPN, I don't know about other sites because I don't use them very much. Most of the leagues I play in are on ESPN that I actually have to like do stuff every week. ESPN is terrible in terms of updating like projections and when people are out. Like, I remember, I don't know what they use as their basis for like judging players out, but I remember it was like last year or the year before, I had a player that was ruled out on like Wednesday, and Schefter even like reported that they were out. And it wasn't until Sunday before the game that ESPN allowed me to put that player on IR with like the out designation. They are terrible at that. So it doesn't surprise me that like Ridley posted his thing and an hour later it still hadn't updated in the app of him being out for the game or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, just absolutely brutal. And I was watching all the pregame bullshit.
And no one mentioned it.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing this week was Halloween costumes and
right,
and trying to do impressions of each other, which I mean, yeah, the NFL pregame media is really struggling to connect with our generation. Yeah. So yeah, I mean when they don't have Brady returning to New England to talk about, like they just panic.
They don't know what to do. I've actually come up with a great Sunday morning routine. You get up, you watch F1 if it's available. Mm-hmm. If it's not available, or if it's available and it's over before football starts, you go to soccer, Premier League. If F1's not available, you just go straight to Premier League and you just ignore all the pregame shows. And then you switch to Red Zone when football starts.
Yeah, it's bad. And then the other thing, was it the Thursday night game? Was it the Saints and the Seahawks, or was that last week's Sunday night game or something? Or maybe I think it was Monday Night Football last week, not
Yeah,
this
that
week,
was
last
last
week.
week.
And like they just kept talking. You remember Beastquake? It was just Memba Berries about Beastquake. And it's like, you guys remember? It was the Saints and the Seahawks in Seattle in the playoffs, and Marshawn, and like that was all their coverage was just like, do you remember Beast Mode? And he grabbed his junk. It's like, yeah, I do remember that. It was pretty awesome. But like, can we get some other storylines going here?
That was like almost a decade ago at this point. Maybe not that far, but it was a ways ago now.
Yeah. So, oh man. Anyway, so yeah, I feel you there. All right. So let's get into the rest of the NFL week that was, shall we? So, I mean, ever since we said that the NFL was awesome, like after week 3, it's just been kind of like flat week after flat week. I mean, Titans Colts was probably the best game, but I mean, just some real stinkers. I guess the Thursday night game was good with the Packers versus the Cardinals, but yeah, I mean, we had the Eagles blow out the Lions in the game that everybody thought that the Lions would be their one game they win this season. The Rams had a 38-0 lead on the Texans, like in the third quarter, and I mean,
didn't cover.
Yeah, the Texans end up scoring 22. The Chargers Patriots game was not satisfying. The Saints without Jameis Winston did somehow beat the Buccaneers. But yeah, I don't know. What are your takeaways from this week, or what stood out to you, Jeff?
I saw somebody present this take on Twitter, and I don't think it's too far off as of right now. But they said the only reason we find football games exciting on Sundays is because there's a lot of them going on at the same time, so you can watch Red Zone and get like all the big plays, which is fun. Mm-hmm. But if you watch individual football games, most of them just suck. And I don't necessarily disagree with that take. I think, obviously, if you enjoy football, you'll enjoy watching a lot of the games. But I would say out of 14 to 16 games a week, you're only going to get 2 or 3 that are actually like really good games.
Yeah.
A lot of scores might end up fairly close, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game was good.
Yeah, you could be tapping into something there with my fantasy football fan bias, because none of my players are going off, so I'm like, this week sucked. And then I think you're tapping into something there, and I think a lot of the big names are kind of underproducing as far as fantasy goes. It's been a really it's been a competitive year. This is a year for the fantasy football sickos, of which we all are. But the struggle is real. The tilt is real, and I think you might be right about that. There have been some individual games. Not every game is great, obviously, but
yeah, it's
none of it is getting me to watch this World Series. Which, by the way, congratulations to the Atlanta B-Words.
I watched 1 inning of the World Series, and it was the final inning.
Well, there you go.
Not that I dislike baseball, right? Like, I love baseball, but it just wasn't. There was nothing attractive about the World Series to me. Like, there's really not much attractive about baseball to me right now. But that's a whole other topic for another day.
Yeah, rough to be a Yankees fan. Okay, so I mean, we kind of talked about the chaos that has happened, that has transpired since week 8. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID this morning. Henry Ruggs got in a car accident while drunk with a gun in the car, going 127 miles an hour over the speed limit and killing somebody has since been released from the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm missing something. We already mentioned Derrick Henry most likely done for the rest of the regular season. OBJ told to stay at home.
Yeah.
Brown saying lose my number.
Blake Bortles flying to Green Bay.
Yeah, we might have Bortles starting in place of the immunized Aaron Rodgers, not necessarily the COVID vaccinated Aaron Rodgers, which every person with a blue check mark on Twitter has been loving to tweet. Oh, he's so clever! I found this. It's like, yeah, so did fucking 20 other blue check marks.
Right.
I will have to say I do kind of appreciate Aaron Rodgers, who, I mean, he's kind of like the old school anti-vaxxer, the ones who were anti-vaxxers before it was cool. He's an anti-vax hipster. You know, he's hanging out with fucking, what's her name?
Shailene
Woodley, a huge fan, by the way.
She's a weirdo from what I read, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like she apparently like bottles her own spring water. She like goes and buys her meat from a farm. She makes her own soaps and all that stuff. Like,
she sounds just the right amount of crazy for me. I'm in. I'm all in on her. But anyway, yeah. I mean, yeah. It just props to Aaron Rodgers for doing that. You know. Yeah. Not really. Anyway, I don't know where to go with that, but it's nice. It's nice for the old anti-vaxxers to, you know, to have their moment in the sun. Oh, yeah. Of which all this is satirical. You should probably get vaccinated if you are not. You definitely should
too if it's available.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about. Yeah. We'll not get into that, but yeah, for sure. If you're high risk and if it's recommended, yes, I would say yes. So I mean, what else do we got? I tweeted out that the NFL is about one Antonio Brown story away from collapsing in on itself. It did, you know, the simulation throwing a freaking stray bullet in our league chat. Somebody saying, "Oh, hopefully my team doesn't collapse like Rob's." And it's like, what? It was unnecessary. Like, I'm not your opponent. I didn't say anything to you. Like, here I am just minding my own business. It's like, haha, Rob's team is trash. It's like, all right. Well, I mean, last time I checked, I got the Dirk up there, and your name's not on it, buddy. So
I have to say, I wasn't the one who said that. I thought it was hilarious, but uncalled for.
Yeah, super uncalled for. Jeez. Anyway, go ahead.
You had brought up a topic in our chat a couple weeks ago, and I think it was 2 weeks ago when I wasn't here, about trade etiquette and stuff like that. And with the NFL trade deadline happening yesterday, I figured we could probably go over that because people in their fantasy leagues are probably going to be or have been engaging in trade talks. So I figured it's probably worth it to cover what, you know, you think someone should do or I think someone should do and stuff like that. So I don't know where you had wanted to start with that, but I figured I'd bring it back up.
I went over it. I did cover it on the solo, kind of my opinions. So before I was able to get the Derrick Henry move to go through, I sent out some feelers, and just some of the responses were, you know, I mean, if you don't want to do a deal or something, like, I mean, just say it, you know, like, yeah. I don't, I mean, there are, you know, certain leagues with it, like your home leagues, where you can kind of maybe get a little bit of an edge, and I mean, prey on unexpected victims, I suppose. But I mean, most of the people who would be listening to this, I think, would be in sharper leagues. And I just, I just think you should come with like an offer that, maybe you don't feel 100% comfortable doing. Like, I mean, when I got Derrick Henry, I sent Cooper Kupp away and Christian McCaffrey. So, like I was trying to get that deal done with Calvin Ridley and Christian McCaffrey, which, still like, oh man, like getting rid of Ridley at the time was like, I mean, this guy has a good schedule coming up. He can ball out, So anyway, I just, just coming with, I was just more saying like low ball offers are kind of not great. And if you can't make the case that you're helping make the other team better, then, I just don't think that the trades are, those types of trade interactions are, not really worth it.
So I think I mostly agree with you. I think a lot of it just depends on your league and the people you're dealing with. I usually try to talk to people outside of sending them a trade offer first, because I don't know what you're looking for if I'm trying to trade. Like for example, if I wanted Cooper Kupp from you,
yeah,
obviously I'm probably going to have to give you a receiver in return.
Mm.
But other than that, like, I don't know where you think you need help. Right.
Right.
So a lot of times I'll say, hey, Rob, I'm interested in Cooper Kupp. Are you interested in a deal at all? And if so, what would you be looking for in return?
Mm-hmm.
I try to do stuff like that because I feel like that gives them an opportunity to you can just tell me no right away. Right.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to lowball you. And what I mean by that is if someone is hard to get a hold of, like I can't message them, I can't text them, I can't use Discord or anything else to get a hold of them, and I only have to do it through the app, and I have to send a trade offer, I'm never going to send a trade I actually want to make, because I don't want you to hit accept and then like I think about it and like, wait, I didn't really want to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of times what I'll do in that case is I might send like one good player. Like, for example, if I want a Kupp from you, I have Devontae, Stephon Diggs, DK, Robert Woods. I might send the worst of the group along with a running back per se, and just that would be my lowball offer, right?
Yeah.
But I would always attach a message with it and say, hey, like, I don't expect you to take this. This is just kind of like I'm telling you I want to engage in this conversation, right?
Yeah.
That's my view on lowball offers. Now, people that send them out and like spam them out, I hate, right? Like that's not, I don't think that helps anyone. Like if all you do is say like, if I were to send you Woods and Trey Sermon, for example, as like a lowball offer for Kupp. Not that I have Sermon or anything. And you say no, I would need something better. And then I come back with Woods and who's some random, like, someone that plays but like isn't particularly great. Like let's say like Jeremy McNichols right now, right?
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, like those guys. Like, how does that improve the trade at all? Right? Like, okay, like that guy like actually plays, whereas Trey Sermon doesn't. But like, it's still not helping anyone.
Right.
The part of it where I think I would disagree is I don't think trades should necessarily be completely one-sided. It's also not my job to make sure the trade helps you if we're trading. Does that make sense? Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I don't want to make completely unfair trades, but I'm also not really trying to make your team better. I'm trying to make my team better. Right?
That's true. So
I can talk about like, I I think this would make sense for you because of this. It doesn't necessarily mean I think it's going to make your team better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose you don't necessarily have to feel that it makes the other team better, but there should at least be a case for it. And so yeah, I mean, obviously engaging in conversations a good way to do it. Like, I mean, looking at our teams when you and I were kind of talking about making a trade, it was just like your strengths and my strengths to my team kind of canceled each other out. Like, I mean, I was like a little weak. I'm a little weak at QB, and wide receiver, and like when I was looking at your team, it just seems like we had like similar needs.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't really, anything that I felt made sense for either of us. So, but yeah, when you can have those conversations,
it makes it easier
beforehand. Yeah. And I mean, saying like, oh, like, what would it take to get Cup? And then I look and I just kind of look at the team and, I just look at your best players because Cup is great. And then I go, can I like snag one of my weaknesses, quarterback, like another maybe wide receiver with some upside? Like, is there anything that works? And yeah, rather than just like blindly sending it out, like I'm trying to work a deal in another league right now where the guy, he wants DeAndre Swift, and I wasn't really looking to get rid of DeAndre Swift. I have Eckler, I have Damian Harris, and DeAndre Swift. Like, those are all three, startable on a week-to-week basis running backs. It help, and it's a standard league, and you can only start two. There's no flex or anything. So, in theory, one would be a backup, which is good to have, right? And like my receivers, I have Cup on that team. I have Michael Pittman, who's been really good. My number 3 receiver is not that great. I mean, I have Bateman kind of in there and Devonta Smith, who I'm hoping will rebound. And anyway, I saw the guy, he had Hopkins. So I'm like, well, he might be down on Hopkins. Hopkins hasn't been doing great, but I mean, he's DeAndre fucking Hopkins with Kyler fucking Murray as his quarterback. So, like, do I chip off a backup running back who, maybe my 2A, run Damian Harris, who's like my 2B, and then hope that DeAndre Hopkins can, have a good second half of the season? And, he's my, I mean, I guess he'd be my 2 in that scenario. And, I'd be looking at Pittman, who's been doing really well, but as Carson Wentz's quarterback, as a number 3, like, I mean, to me that feels like a stronger team. And he tried to come for Eckler for Hopkins, and I'm just like, I'm not getting rid of Eckler, man. Like, I got to keep my A running back if I'm chipping off my. And anyway, so I think I'm going to accept it. I know you kind of share that you're not in on Hopkins, but DeAndre Swift's not going to win me a league. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins does.
Yeah, and when you sent it to me, I didn't know that like you don't have a flex and you don't have like some of those other things.
Yeah, so, it's a standard league. It's not PPR, so yeah.
So that
context helps.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense, right? There's no point. It's one of those tough happy mediums, but there's no point to have strong players on your bench if you can trade them and get better players in your starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
Now that's the hard part, right? Like, is how do you trade some of these guys to get better? But I think the trade you sent me makes a lot of sense, right? It's Bateman and Swift for Hopkins. Swift clearly isn't going to get the whole role in Detroit. And if you're not getting his catches as PPR points, then he's good, but you're right. He's probably not going to win you that league. Whereas Hopkins could, because if he gets hot, granted, you're not going to get his catches either, but if he gets hot, he could put together a couple 100-yard, 1 or 2 touchdown games in a row that might help you win weeks and stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm going to accept it.
yeah.
I just clicked accept.
One other
Hopefully,
thing,
hopefully Hopkins gets hot.
I'm with you because I have him a couple places. One other thing I wanted to say is I don't think enough people look at how they're going to replace what they're losing in a trade, or how much better what they're getting is going to make them. And what I mean by that is, if you have a running back who averages 15 points a game and a running back who averages 5, and you have 3 receivers who average 10, and let's say you start those 5, right? You start 2 running backs, 3 receivers. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're going to trade your 15-point running back for a 15-point receiver, but then your replacement running back is only another 5-point replacement running back. Well, you're losing net 5 points per week, even though like the players you traded are equal.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think people look at stuff like that enough. And so people can lose trades just by not understanding what they have on their own team, regardless of what they're getting or giving up.
Like me giving up Cooper Kupp for Derrick Henry. it's not looking great.
I don't necessarily think that was bad. I wouldn't have done that trade.
Yeah.
Personally, but that's just more of my view on players and what I value, right? Like, I don't value Derrick Henry because at 28 carries a game, like, he has no room for improvement. Mm-hmm. He only has room to go down in my mind. Whereas Kupp is getting like 11, 12 targets a game, which is high, but it's far from like the most we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
50-50 hindsight. I just thought Derrick Henry is the most durable guy. It's almost fall. The weather's getting colder. He's catching passes. And Cooper Kupp going over the middle has gotten hurt in the past.
Yep.
There's no way he can keep that pace, right? Right?
No, I understand it. That's why, like, I don't think it was a terrible trade. I don't like that you included McCaffrey in it. Personally, I figure if you're going to get Henry, you might as well keep an injured McCaffrey. But, obviously it's unlucky at this point that Henry gets hurt and is probably out for the year. And then your replacement wide receiver was Ridley, and he's out for who knows how long. Right. So you've kind of been unlucky in a few different ways in regards to this trade.
And that team's 5-3.
Yeah.
This other team I have is 3-5. I think I've lost 5 straight. I have Eckler, Damian Harris, DeAndre Swift, who I just traded, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Travis Kelce, and this is a standard league, and that team is 3-5, currently sitting out of the playoffs. So fantasy football is fucking weird, man. It's so tilting. Speaking of which, since we were talking about how trash ESPN is, I found another free hosting site. It's called Fantrax.
I've been there before.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing like just like a free kind of demo league where we could maybe test some things out. Would you want to have a fake team on there just so we can like see how waivers work, see how the scoring works, and maybe propose that for next season to use as our website in lieu of ESPN, which won't allow things like daily waivers and doesn't update fucking blurbs because they probably don't pay their interns anything.
Yeah, I'm in. So I've done Fantrax a little bit before. The cool thing that they allow is they do allow multi-team trades as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which isn't the easiest thing to pull off, right? Because you got to get multiple people. But it actually would have been nice a couple of years ago when I did essentially a multi-team trade, but I had to do 2 separate trades with 2 separate people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm down. If you want to set it up, I'll shoot you my like info so you can send me like an invite or whatever. only thing that I don't really know if they have that I think Anthony or like some other people in the league might want is I don't know if they'll import like all your old league information, like your league history and stuff. But other than, I mean, that doesn't really matter, right? It's just that's just more of a fun thing to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could even, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we could replicate that, but I mean, I'm sure there's some blockchain out there that can do it, and we'll figure it out as we go. So I mean, that's all I got for football talk, unless you have more. We have the Mexican Grand Prix this weekend. Formula One, Sergio Perez, everybody's favorite driver now, all of a sudden. Seeing a bunch of tweets where literally guys only want one thing, and it's fucking beautiful, and it's a picture of Sergio Perez holding a, you know, the trophy on the podium, winning the Mexican Grand Prix, which would be absolutely freaking amazing. Jeff, you got anything other than how hyped you are for the Mexican GP?
I am hyped. I love these races that are closer to our time zones because not that it's crazy early, but getting up at 6, 7 in the morning isn't always the most fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I think.
Races.
Go ahead. I think the race is at 11, which would put the end of the race right at the witching hour for NFL Sunday. So that'll be fun. Hopefully we get a good race. I mean, it's do or die for Mercedes. If they don't have a good result here, I think I'll be ripping my Lewis Hamilton tickets. So, I mean, Ferrari, McLaren, the real battle. Oh, and there are strong rumors now that Porsche could be entering Formula One. I don't know if they would be a potential engine supplier for Red Bull, but there's going to be a shakeup for sure if Porsche enters, because that's a big name. That is, that is up there, the biggest name since Mercedes joined years ago. So I don't know if you've heard anything more about that. I just saw some tweets.
I just saw that it was getting more attractive for Porsche to join, but I didn't see in what capacity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what they mean by that. And if Honda's leaving, like, that's the only thing I could think of is Honda's leaving, and Red Bull needs an engine. That's pretty freaking attractive, because Red Bull's supposedly already working on their own engine. Like, just slap a freaking Porsche badge on there and give them some money, and like, good to go. Like, let's roll. So it's been a while. I don't think Porsche's been in Formula One since the 80s, maybe early 90s. Back when teams or manufacturers kind of just used to dip their toes in and in and out, back and forth all the time. I mean, fucking Yamaha had a Formula One engine supplier for a while. So yeah, I mean, what does that tell you? I have a Toyota now. I'm a Toyota Corolla owner, hatchback. It's nice. So yeah, me and I got the Le Mans 3-peat for the brand. I'm driving around, so I can no longer be affiliated with Honda because of Max Verstappen is the thing. But Sergio, I fuck with Sergio, not Max. All right, my dude, you ready to get out of here? You got anything else? All right, I need some PF Changs. Me, Derrick Henry Ruggs. Nah, fuck Henry Ruggs. OBJ can come.
Take OBJ.
Yeah, bring the strippers. And me and him, Mark Davis. We'll invite Mark Davis. He's a big PF Changs fan. But yeah, let's get some PF Changs, Jeff. Till next week.